The arrogance of the invaders. They came like storms without warning. A fleet of the Draxil Empire descended upon the colony of Halcyon Ivy, a small, bright jewel on the edge of human-settled space. To the Draxil, it was nothing more than an experiment, a test to measure humanity's resolve. They believed Earth's people were soft, civilized, unwilling to bleed for the outer rim. They did not ask for surrender. They did not offer terms. Instead, they dropped a beast. The creature was bred in the genetic foundries of Draxil Prime, a weaponized apex predator, scales like steel, claws sharp enough to rend battle armor. It was known in whispers across the stars as the siege monster, for it could collapse fortresses on its own. To the Draxil, releasing it upon human soil was not war. It was amusement. They wanted to watch colonists scream and scatter to record their despair, to remind every species that Earth was fragile. The mockery of humanity. From orbit, the Draxil ships transmitted laughter. Their broadcasts echoed across frequencies. Watch, lesser beings. Watch as your soldiers break, as your defenses shatter. Watch as your courage dissolves into cries. The colonists, terrified, fled into bunkers and shelters. But one man stood in the monster's path. He was no legend, no genetically altered super-soldier. He was Captain Elias Kale, a veteran of forgotten border wars, his uniform scarred, his face weathered. He carried nothing more than an old exosuit patched together and a rifle built a decade earlier. The aliens mocked him by name. They opened channels to sneer at the lone figure walking toward their unleashed beast. Is this Earth's champion? One soldier against a god of war. We shall carve his defeat into history. They laughed so hard, they forgot to wonder what humanity does when cornered. The silence before the answer. The battle began in dust and thunder. The monster roared, a sound that made glass shatter in the colony's towers. It lunged, its bulk blotting out the stars. Elias did not run. He stood, planted, eyes narrowed as if measuring something only he could see. The first clash was brutal. Claws slammed against his shield. His rifle spat fire that barely pierced its hide. The colonists watching the feed gasped. Even the aliens paused, curious. And then something changed. Elias moved differently, not as prey but as predator. He dodged not by chance but by rhythm, as though he learned the monster in seconds. Each roar, each strike, each tremor of the ground, he read them like lines in a book. Within minutes, he was inside the creature's guard, planting charges, severing tendons, carving weakness into what was supposed to be invincible. The aliens, once laughing, grew quiet. Their jeers died in their throats. When the monster finally collapsed in fire and blood, Elias stood on its carcass. Smoke rose around him. His suit cracked, his arm broken, but his eyes locked on the fleet above. And in that silence, the galaxy felt something colder than the beast's death. They felt Earth's promise. When Earth answered, the Draxil thought they'd humiliated humanity. Instead, they'd lit the signal flare. From Earth's deep fleets came silence first. No declarations, no threats, no speeches. Just the sudden darkening of stars. Massive dreadnoughts slid from folded space, black hulls absorbing light. Battle groups stretched across systems, each ship a cathedral of war. Comms across the galaxy crackled with chilling brevity. This is Earth. Evacuate. The Draxil laughed again, but this time it sounded strained. They boasted of numbers, of empires spanning hundreds of worlds. Yet when humanity moved, they did not move with rage. They moved with precision, with cold inevitability, as though this war had been calculated long before the Draxil even considered mockery. The breaking of suns. The first strike was not against ships, it was against stars. Human fleets carried weapons the galaxy had whispered of but never witnessed, stellar lances. In moments, the Draxel forward bases were gone, their suns pierced, collapsing into choking storms of plasma. Entire fleets vanished in silence, their transmissions cut mid-scream. Armies followed. Drop pods fell like comets, millions of them, landing on Draxel-held worlds with the fury of storms. Soldiers in black armor marched through fire, silent and relentless. Cities burned not with chaos but with surgical annihilation. Each strike severed supply lines, command hubs, cloning vats. The galaxy watched in horror. What was unleashed was not war, it was execution. Retribution without mercy. The Draxel begged for parley. They claimed misunderstanding. They pleaded that releasing the beast had been a jest, a test, nothing more. Humanity did not answer. Instead, the dreadnought Leviathan Prime emerged in orbit over Draxel Prime itself. Its hull spanned miles, its guns like mountain ranges. Without a word, it opened fire. The capital fell in a single barrage. Palaces crumbled, fleets vaporized, genetic foundries reduced to ash. What the Draxel thought immortal became dust in seconds. Across the galaxy, every race listened to the silent broadcast of destruction. They heard no cheering, no joy, no cruelty from Earth. Only the cold, absolute machinery of vengeance. It was then the galaxy understood. Humanity's patience was long, but once broken, their response was infinite. The lesson etched in fear. When the last Draxel fleet was erased, humanity did not pursue glory. They did not carve statues or demand tribute. They left silence. Elias Kale, the soldier who fought the monster, was never seen again. Some say he died of his wounds. Others whisper he was taken into Earth's secret ranks, honored in shadows. His battle became legend, told not by humans but by terrified survivors of alien empires. The galaxy's corridors of power changed overnight. In every council chamber, in every throne room, one phrase was spoken in hushed voices. Never provoke Earth again. Not because Earth was loud, but because Earth was silent. Silent in patience, silent in wrath, silent after annihilation. For when one human fought a monster, aliens learned that monsters were nothing compared to mankind.